Hey, everybody. Look, I actually had questions to read this week, but then a few days ago, there was a lot of online discourse about District 48 and candidates who don't live in the district. And what does that mean? And I just figured, okay, that's what we'll talk about on this week's episode. Cue the music. This all started when an active Democrat who does live in District 48 posted their thoughts about congressional candidates not living inside the district lines, calling it a non issue. This post, as you can imagine, set off a wave of replies and comments. I decided I'd answer a few questions that voters in District 48 might find helpful. The Constitution is clear that House members have to be residents of the state in which they are elected. The word district is never used because the language gives Congress creative freedom to change the size and structure of the House. The Constitution also gives the states power over how their House members are elected, but also says Congress can step in when necessary. Up until 1964, some states had population disparities in their districts as high as 10 to 1 ratio. Other states with multiple districts even had at-large districts. A Supreme Court decision ruled that all congressional districts have to be drawn as close to equally proportionate as possible, or as it is commonly known, one person, one vote. The 1967 Uniform Congressional District Act codified this decision and required all states with multiple representatives to have single-member districts. So the Constitution set up a baseline for representation, but it took an act of Congress and the Supreme Court to make representation more fair for the American people. It is possible for Congress to write legislation requiring representatives to live in the district they are elected to. And I believe Congress should pass a law requiring this. But until then, it is perfectly legal for candidates to run in a district that they don't live in. It's legal, but some people might consider it sketchy, which leads us to the next question. Just a few weeks ago, I had lunch with a voter in District 48, and I asked him if it mattered that some of the candidates don't live in the district. He told me that it didn't, but he also told me that he would be voting for me because he wanted to vote for a gay candidate. The fact is, people vote for candidates for various reasons. Some people vote for the gay candidate, some people vote for the woman candidate, some people vote for the Latino candidate, some people are single-issue voters, and some people don't want to vote for a person who doesn't live in their district. Whatever the reason that makes people vote or don't vote for a candidate, that's their right as an American. And to say this is a non-issue speaks to the establishment Democrats and their smug, condescending, I told you so behavior that a lot of them haven't learned from in the last few years. And for the record, I'm not immune to this. I can be smug and condescending. And in 5 years, if California loses 4 seats after the 2030 census, I'll be more than happy to say, I told you so. To put it bluntly, Prop 50 had one goal: to rig the California map so that Democrats could gain 5 seats in the House to offset the 5 seats Republicans were rigging in their favor in Texas. Based on voter information, 5 new districts were drawn a certain way so that any Democratic candidate would easily win that seat. And given how special elections have been playing out, a blue wave is coming, and whoever the Democratic candidate is for District 48 will win. A year ago, I was running in District 41 with other candidates. All of us knew that winning the district would be a tough climb, but we believed in representing our communities in Riverside County where we lived. District 48 was a Republican stronghold in San Diego County. Any Democrat running in that district likely knew they didn't have a chance, but some were willing to try and had already filed paperwork to run months before Prop 50 was even a thing. This makes the addition of new candidates filing to run after Prop 50 all the more glaring and obvious. They filed their statement of candidacy for District 48 after Governor Newsom signed the bill that sent Prop 50 to the ballot. They chose to run in a district they don't live in because they knew that with their establishment Democratic connections, if they could get to the general election in November, they would easily win. If people in District 48 want to question the sincerity of candidates who don't live in the district, that is one of the freedoms the First Amendment guarantees. I believe in knowledge and in information, and I think it's fair and reasonable to make sure that voters know as much as they can about their local elections and the candidates that are running. And now that certain information is making its way through the district, a friend of mine in Palm Springs actually told me, I don't want to be represented by the San Diego version of Christy Holstage. Keep your eyes open.